In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on September 10, 2022. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive betting picks to take your sports betting journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer anywhere from 1 betting pick a day up to 10 betting picks a day and much more. Now let's get started. South Carolina versus Arkansas. The South Carolina Gamecocks and the Arkansas Razorbacks meet Saturday in college football action from Razorback Stadium. The Gamecocks just finished up their opener versus Georgia State. In that one, South Carolina cruised to a 21-point win. As for the Razorbacks, they played Cincinnati in their first game. Arkansas ended up winning by a touchdown. Arkansas is a program on the rise, and Rattler hasn't shown he can play the quarterback position at a consistent level yet. The Razorbacks' offense was solid against a good Cincinnati defense last week, and the Gamecocks' rush defense was one of the worst units in the Southeastern Conference last year. Arkansas should have success establishing the run, which is key to their offense. The Razorbacks' defense isn't stellar, but they should be better after hitting up the transfer portal, and they were fine against a Bearcat offense that is better than what they will see this week in Rattler and the Gamecocks. The Razorbacks had a tough matchup right out of the gate this season and managed to fend off a talented Cincinnati team. The Razorbacks notched 447 total yards with 6.3 yards per play and 23 first downs in a solid all-around effort. As for South Carolina, they weren't quite as dominant statistically as they probably should have been in their first outing of the year, but it was still a solid win. The Gamecocks did have a couple of interceptions and went just 3 of 14 on third down tries, so they've got a few areas to work on at practice this week. Arkansas is rested and at home. They should be able to win by double digits, so the Arkansas Razorbacks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Arkansas had no problem putting up 31 points on Cincinnati last week, and they should be able to put up more points on a weak Gamecock defense this week. Even though South Carolina's offense wasn't impressive, the Razorback defense is still not a great unit, and South Carolina should be able to score a couple touchdowns. Arkansas is one of the best rushing offenses in all of college football, and there's no reason to believe the Gamecocks' historically bad rush defense from last year will be significantly improved. Arkansas should be able to score around 40 points in this game. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Alabama versus Texas. The Crimson Tide are 20-point favorites against the Texas Longhorns in a matchup of 2 storied programs that will face off today in Austin. Alabama comes in off an impressive victory against a solid Utah State team in Week 1, while Texas beat the small school of Louisiana Monroe 52-10 in their season opener. If Texas fans want to get the respect back of being a national power again, they have a chance to make a huge statement in doing so as they host Alabama. This may not be a game the Longhorns have to win, but to keep it close would be a moral victory of sorts. But it's not going to be easy. The Crimson Tide cruised to a shutout win over Utah State 55-0 while compiling over 550 yards of offense. Texas easily beat Louisiana Monroe, but the 52-10 score was aided by a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown, as Steve Sarkisian's offense only put up 383 yards of offense. Bijan Robinson rushed for just 71 yards in the game. For context, Alabama QB Bryce Young rushed for 100 yards in Week 1. Alabama's defense is going to overwhelm the Texas offense that may need another week or 2 to hit their stride with Quinn Ewers at the helm. There won't be many holes open for Robinson as the Tide allowed just 87 rushing yards per game last year. Ewers is going to be overwhelmed by a defensive unit that racked up 57 sacks last season, with 17.5 of them coming from Will Anderson. Speaking of defenses, Texas gave up 57 points to Kansas last year, and while they have a better portion of the defense back, the talent for Alabama is too much to ask the Longhorns to slow down. Last season, Sarkisian and the Longhorns faced a Southeastern Conference opponent in Arkansas and were completely overmatched. That game was in Fayetteville, and Texas will have the comforts of home field, but they will be uncomfortable all game long. I get the case to be made for a team like Texas getting a massive number of points like this at home. However, this is one of those spots that feels like Texas is this big of an underdog for a reason, as the Longhorns aren't usually the kind of team to rise to the occasion against a team like Alabama, and neither is, and maybe more importantly, Steve Sarkisian. Nick Saban and the Tide continue to reload year after year and look like they didn't skip a beat against Utah State. I believe that the Tide are ready to make a statement at Texas' expense, so Alabama to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Alabama doesn't have the established receiving corps that the Crimson Tide have had in previous years, even though they have plenty of talent on the outside. Still, Saban is bringing a team in with young tackles and inexperienced receivers. He will likely look to establish the running game and control clock. Defensively, Alabama should have one of the best pass rushes in the country, and Texas doesn't run the kind of spread and tempo offense that has at times given this team trouble. This should be a lower scoring game. Under the projected total is our full game pick. Wake Forest versus Vanderbilt. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons and Vanderbilt Commodores meet Saturday in Week 2 college football action at First Bank Stadium. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons look for a 2-0 start after beating VMI in their opener. The Vanderbilt Commodores look for their first 3-0 start since the 2017 season. Wake Forest will get a jolt to the program when star quarterback Sam Hartman returns to the lineup for their Week 2 matchup with Southeastern Conference opponent Vanderbilt. Hartman was 5th in EPA and 12th in QBR last season while combining for 4,591 total yards and 50 total touchdowns. The dual-threat Charlotte-born product is looking to build off that breakout season after missing Week 1 with an undisclosed injury. He is medically cleared and ready to lead a Wake Forest offense that ranked 3rd in the nation in points scored per game last season. They lost their second leading receiver from last season but return a T. Perry and Taylor Morin on the outside as lethal playmakers. They also have a very talented tight end in Blake Whiteheart that they are high on. Alongside Hartman in the backfield returns 2 of 3 of the Demon Deacons running back committee from last season in Christian Turner and Justice Ellison, who combined for 180 yards on 26 carries last week against VMI. They return 4 offensive line starters, and that experience should help improve their balanced attack this season. On the Vanderbilt side of things, they have a very talented quarterback of their own in Mike Wright. Wright has run the ball very well in the first 2 games of the season against weak Hawaii and Elan defenses with over 10 yards per carry and 2 scores in each game. He has also thrown 6 passing touchdowns. In limited time last season, Wright threw for just over 1,000 yards but with an 8 of 6 touchdown NT ratio and a measly 53.1% completion percentage. Vanderbilt power slammed a Hawaii roster that is experiencing a massive overhaul in Week 0 before winning by just 11 points at home against a mid-tier FCS program in Elan. Matthew McKay for Elan threw for 333 yards and 2 scores while running for 51 yards and 2 more scores on the ground. Elan actually outgained Vanderbilt despite the final score, and that is a horrid sign as the Commodores now step up in competition. I expect Wake to shred through this Vanderbilt defense with the return of Hartman and an experienced group around him. The spread on this game jumped in favor of Wake Forest with the news that Hartman would return. And to be honest, I expect this line to close over 2 touchdowns and will back the Demon Deacons before that potentially happens. So Wake Forest to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Cam's expecting to beat Wake Forest this season will have to be able to score the ball with consistency. Vanderbilt does have offensive firepower with 14 plays of 20 yards or more already through 2 games. They also play a fast-paced style despite leading in both of their games throughout. Over 100 points scored in the first 2 games of the season is nothing to sneeze at for a Vanderbilt program not used to that type of explosiveness. Wake Forest returned 7 starters defensively, but their defense wasn't very good last season, allowing 30 points per game, 419.5 yards per game, and 5.7 yards per play. They allowed 34 or more points in 7 games last season, including 40 or more in 5 of those games. If Elan, who went 6-5 in FCS last season, was able to move the ball up and down the field against the Vanderbilt defense, I worry for their outlook against a Wake Forest team fresh off an 11-win season. Wake Forest games averaged 70 points per game last season, with the majority of that coming from their lethal offense. They ranked number 1 in plays per game last year and should see similar pace and volume with their veteran signal caller returning behind center. I look for the Demon Deacons to score early and often as they keep their foot on the gas on the road in a Southeastern Conference environment. The over has seen a spike from its opening number since the Hartman news. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.